Hello, everyone's Forest Focus. Tonight, Forest looks to make it 4 wins in a row, and they take on Brighton at the City Ground on Sunday. Can they do it? Can they win 7-0 again? Probably not, but joining me to discuss the game in full and reflect on last night's 3-0 win against Malmo. Great to be joined, first of all, by former Reds winger Franz Carr. Franz, afternoon, how you doing?
Yes, listen, fine. Everything's, listen, we're all happy, aren't we, at the moment?
Well, I said to you on WhatsApp, you're the lucky charm because you've joined this podcast and we're winning every game, so maybe it's down to you.
Don't curse me yet. But no, it's been good. It's been refreshing. I mean, listen, you guys have been watching them for years, and Mikey as well. I mean, it's good times. You know, when you've had the up and downs over the years, you're obviously bearing the fruits a little bit now. I'm thinking, you know what, they're not too bad after all.
No, well, it feels very different from a few weeks ago, which we'll probably get into. But yeah, great to have Franz with us. Mikey Clarke, I've forgotten what time of year it is. It's November, which means it's not Christmas, but you're wearing Christmas jumpers. How are you today?
I'm in the Christmas spirit after what Franz said in terms of, our recent revival in Up Tune and Fortune. So yeah, really good. Enjoyed last night. I'm fantastic this morning. We're on a bit of a roll. Feels like we've got the club back a little bit without wanting to be cheesy, but it feels like this is what we're all about, what we've seen in recent weeks.
Yeah, I mean, Greg was going to join us, and it's a shame he can't because I know he was involved in all the historical stuff with 1979 and all that stuff. But Mikey, just pick up on that because it does feel like the club's back, especially reflecting on last night with the history and the good performance on the pitch. Just talk to us a bit more in general about last night.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. So I got down a little bit early. I went to Trent Bridge just for a change to see Temps and interviewing Luke Fletcher, but you could see the build-up from sort of 4 or 5 o'clock. They were projecting something on the back of the Brian Clough stand. It was really busy. So a lot of people came out early. There was lots of things going off. You had the thing on YouTube with David Prutton, didn't you? You had the red carpet. The display before the game was wonderful. So much effort would have gone into that. It was great that the Brian Clough stand got included as well. I was just about under that flag, just about to my right-hand side, but it was just brilliant. Wonderful day, marked, magnificent by the club. Great effort from Greg and the Forza team, and I just loved the occasion. It was great. The game itself was interesting. I don't think they're particularly the best side we've seen down here this season, which maybe affected the atmosphere a little bit because if you remember Porto, we weren't sure what to get and everybody was up for it. I think after about 5 or 10 minutes, you kind of knew that if we got 1, we might get 2, 3, 4, 5. But regardless of what happened on the pitch, the whole evening was fantastic. It was a great effort by everybody involved. I really enjoyed it. I was maybe a bit too young to remember when we were winning European Cups. I think it was 1 or something. But my family can. Everybody tells me how great it was. Obviously, Malmo, great tradition there. They bought into it. Their fans were magnificent. I just really enjoyed it. It was just a great night.
1 defeat and 7, France, under Sean Dyche now. 3 goals in consecutive games. I think for the first time since 2015. I saw that on Twitter with Dan Story, friend of the show. I mean, the transformation has been massive. To be honest, it was faster than I expected. I thought we were going to bumble along and really struggle into Christmas. But at the moment, it all looks rosy. What do you make of it all the last, 3 weeks or so?
Well, like I say, I've been on the last few couple of podcasts with you. And to be honest, like I say, Sean Dyche, people don't realise, it's not because I know him and personally and things like that, is that he's been a Premiership manager for a long time. You're talking 7 years at Burnley. I mean, if you look at all the managers in the Premiership now, how many people have got that experience? And if you've got the players to perform and you've got that talent to choose from, you've just got to put it together. So it's the first time really that he's had a proper squad, talented players where he can actually demonstrate what he's capable of doing as a manager. And as you know, obviously being a centre half, obviously we have Warney, Stoney. I know it's the same sort of names we bang out, but as a centre half, his back four is always key. And obviously the keeper as well is the mainstay of the side. Everything else you can move around. It's like a chess game. Basically, you can move the figures around as long as you've got legs in midfield, and then you've got people who can lead, like Yatesy. He contributes a hell of a lot more to the game than some other players. So he's just trying to figure out how to fit all these players in. And it was interesting last night because people thinking, well, what's he going to play? What plays he going to play? But it gives other players a chance to perform, knowing that if they come out the side, you know, Sean can look on the bench or whatever and think, well, I can put that guy on because he's never let me down. So when you think about it, he's calmed everything down. And basically the players are buying into what he's looking to do. With obviously with Nuno and Ange being there, I think they were trying to fast track everything, and you can't do that. And you look at the experience with even Nuno to a certain extent, to what Sean has got experience wise in the Premier League, and even Ange together, two of them together wouldn't outshine Sean.
It's interesting. Franz makes a good point there, Mike. We often discuss about picking teams from position of strength versus a position of weakness, and for too much it's been, well, this guy's going to play because this other guy's totally out of form. And now it feels like we're in a much better place with a whole squad. I know Malmo weren't great, but we've got viable options we can bring off the bench now in more than one area, I guess.
Yeah, we do. And Franz is right. We had to do it as well. So if you think about the Bournemouth game where, you know, we exerted so much mental and physical effort into the Porto game a few days before, we wanted the same set of players to go again, and they couldn't quite hit those levels. And Bournemouth were there, hard running, just ran all over us. And I think at that point, maybe the penny drops a little bit, like, you know, we have to utilise this squad. We've spent so much money on these. They're all very, very talented players, and we have to utilise it. And what's been pleasing to see in recent weeks is that these, I call them fringe players, they're not, just people that maybe haven't got a chance yet and have joined the club recently, are stepping up and showing what they're about. We saw it last night. Kalimuendo gets his first goal. Fantastic. That will do him the world of good. And did you see the celebration when he scored? They all ran over. There were smiles. They were all dead pleased for him because they know how important it is for a striker to get his first goal for his new club. But you see some of the others, you know, James McAtee got a run out. We might talk about him. Zach Abbott started. So all these players that are there and around, they're all going to have a big part to play. And I think, yes, the opposition wasn't great last night, but I think that will give Sean and his team an immense amount of confidence that, as Franz says, you can call on these players because we're going to need them. If you look at our running the next few months, it is back to back in some weeks. So you're going to have to call on every member. Every member's got a part to play. And yeah, it's looking good. I'm starting to, I mean, I was before, but you look at some of these fixtures now with less trepidation because you think, okay, if Gibbs White is out, what can we do? Can Amari play the 10? You know, what happens if Douglas Luiz is out for a few more weeks? We're going to be okay because Sangare stepped up. So there's all those little conversations that we're having, and it feels like we're in a much stronger, much calmer place than we were, and everybody's positive and looking forward. You know, Brighton are, what are they, 5th? They're doing absolutely fantastic, but I think people think we can beat them now, and I think we can. So yeah, we're in a good place.
That was just on Kalimuendo, Franz. That was a decent striker's goal. I know we caveat it with the opposition weren't great, but to get off the mark and to see everyone so involved in the celebrations around him, that's a big boost because Chris Wood, it doesn't seem like he's coming back in the next couple of weeks. Taiwo missed a game as well. So you can't just have Igor Jesus. So that's a nice boost for Sean Dyche, isn't it?
Oh, no, definitely. Listen, you've got 4 strikers there, and that's what Sean wants them all to be fighting for the places. But even with Kalimuendo, you know, he's got a goal-scoring record anyway back in France. And when you think when he's come here, and he's had 2 different managers, obviously probably not speaking fluent English, then you've got Sean coming in. I mean, and him being injured, settling into Nottingham, and, you know, it's going to take him a while. So, you know, I think now Sean coming in there, you know, taking that pressure off all the players and basically putting out what he wants from them. I think you see a calmness. I think, like you say, when you watch the game, the last few games, you see a togetherness. You see that, you know, the lads, it's not just one person or 2 people, you know, celebrating. You've got the whole lot, and you've got the bench as well. So it's not only that, then you see the crowd as well, and you see them calm. So when you actually go into the grounds now, you see that atmosphere where it's calm, thinking then we're not going to lose, we're going to win, and it's an upward curve. So for me at the moment, the last few weeks since Sean's been in there, there's been a calmness, there's been a togetherness. You know, clean sheets is always going to be one of the main things for any club. And what they did at Liverpool the other week, I mean, listen, I've played at Liverpool many times and, you know, gone away crying most of the time. So I mean, because, you know, at Anfield, you never get anything from there. So there's, you know, there's a lot to be said about it. It's all right saying Liverpool, you know, are not playing very well and stuff like that, but the standard of the Premier League is so high now You look at Brighton's, you look at Sunderland and things like that. Or Sunderland are down at City Ground. I mean, these teams are no pushovers. So even last night with Malmo, I mean, people say, oh, they were rubbish, but you can only beat what's in front of you. You know, it could have gone the other way. You know, these players who've come in last night could have think, oh, well, they're rubbish, get rid of them. So they've stepped up and they made Malmo look bad. But that's only because of the togetherness and the pushing forward. So Sean's building, you know, I think every time a manager's come in over the past few months, they've got the foundations and they keep knocking it down. So now it's a matter of building the foundations and finish the job, you know, the job ahead, which is going to be a long, tough job. But if we can all stick together, you've got a chairman who'll back you, because obviously we know with Mr. Fowers and his team beforehand, I mean, it was like a comedy club beforehand. Now it's a bit of a, you know, a proper professional outfit where you've got a chairman and an owner who's willing to put the money in the club and put Nottingham back to where it should be.
Yeah, it's interesting reflecting on the season, Mikey. I mean, on one hand, are you feeling relieved that everything's back on track and we're looking up and everything feels good again? Or does it make you a bit more frustrated that, you know, we wasted 2 months of the season? And it's a season that could have, you know, this could have cascaded into absolute farce at one stage, and it hasn't, thankfully. So how do you view where we're at now in that sense, relief versus frustration?
It's a really good question, and I've been thinking about it this morning when you WhatsApped to me. I think I'm not sitting on the fence, but I think it's a bit of both. And let me give you my review of why. Sometimes I think just in life in general, when you go through bad stuff and stuff happens, it kind of like resets you and you start to appreciate the good a little bit more. So I'm not saying it's a good thing that that 39-day period or whatever it was happened with Ange. But at least if you're trying to get a positive spin on it, at least you can think, well, actually, you know, if there was a desire, as Franz says, to run before you can walk and to rip up the foundations, we tried it, it didn't work. Let's just stick to what we know, what we're good at. And we've almost like reset. So yes, of course, when you look at it, you don't want that period. You didn't want the fallout with Nuno. You didn't want the new manager come in and not win a game for 2 months, you know, and just be second bottom, and your own fans chanting you getting sacked in the morning. You didn't want any of that. But the one positive it served is to basically reset us as a fan base and as a city and as a club. And as Franz says, you know, there's a calmness now there. I think that's a great word. I think he's right. There's a calmness there, and you'll look back on it in a few months' time and probably think that was a horrible period, but at least it showed you what we don't want and how we don't want to operate. It's like when you get a job and within like the first few weeks you think, oh, this is awful. This is just not for me. But at least you know that it's not for you, so you won't do it again, will you? Hopefully. So in answer to your question, Matt, I wish it never happened. I genuinely wish we were sat with Nuno, or Dyche came in straight from Nuno if he left, and it would have been a little bit more seamless, a lot less chaotic, and we would have got better results. However, it did happen, and you have to learn from it as a group and as a collective. And I think the club have, and I think they'll let Sean and his team get on with it now, because as we've seen in recent weeks, we're building something there. It's dogged, it's determined, it's everything that we're about. You know, there's more than one way to win a fight, to win a game of football. Sometimes you can't open up and play a high line like the previous manager. Sometimes you have to do what we did at Anfield for 30 minutes and dig in and clear it off the line and shut your bodies in the way. And Murillo blocking about 10 shots. That's what you have to do, because it then gives you the base to win a game. And I think Sean and his team understand that. The fans certainly understand that. And we forgot about it for a few months. But that's over with now. We've left that job. Everything's looking rosy. Everything's looking good. And we're going to have a good Christmas period. And I think we're going to really push on next year.
We should talk more about Brighton, and we'll reflect a little bit more on the Malmo game, some of the positives, not negatives, but we'll talk around McAtee's performance and what we made of that. Just for that, a word for all the Trent Navigation. Legends of Rock gig is coming up, and it is tonight if you're looking for something to do, 7 p.m. Tickets are available on the door, 15 quid if you buy them online. And then Sunday, post-match show with the Fun Boy 2. And Fothers, who you would have seen on the post-match show last night on here, will have all the build-up for that one. Just looking a little bit more at last night, Franz. Another good night for the club. Ryan Yates, half tongue-in-cheek, well, very much tongue-in-cheek, actually, compared to Frank Lampard, getting a goal last night, an assist, breaking into the box. Zach Abbott played really well. Jimmy Sinclair got on the pitch for his debut. A really nice night for the club. Talk to us about that. Also, talk to us about your debut, if you can cast your mind back that far and your memories of it.
I can't remember that far back. Mikey's saying he was 1 year old, 1979. So I'm going to have problems, aren't I? Saying when my debut was. So I think my debut was against. I'm sure it was against. It was either Arsenal or Aston Villa. I think it's probably Arsenal at home. I think it was my debut in 84, 85. That was against. I mean, they had a great Arsenal side. Kenny Sampson. Don't know if you remember them. You guys remember when he was the England left back. So I mean, but they were good days. I mean, when I talk about Forest, you know, in the past, they were glowing days because when you're playing for the great man himself. And what he'd won, and even like last night with the 79 guys, I played with some of them guys as well. So you're really at the top of the tree on all fronts, not just being at the City Ground and the trophies being there, and John McGovern, Ian Boyer. I mean, you can keep going. I played with John Robertson when I was a young kid. So I mean, I was very lucky and very fortunate to be part of, you know, that group of players, and obviously with Brian himself, and even Sean was part of that. You know, even that little snippet from being there for a short while. Stands you in good stead, and a lot of things what Sean does and obviously the staff are similar to what Brian Clough did. So he's never changed as a manager. I just think you got to play the hand you dealt with. You know, if you're dealt with a side like Burnley, you can only do your best with him and take him as far as you can. Because I think he kept him in this league for 7 years. Burnley. I mean, if you mention Burnley, you'd think Championship side. And they were in the Premiership for a long time, and he got him into Europe. So, you know, I think he doesn't get enough credit for what he's actually done. And he's just brought that on to Forest, which it seems like a nice fit at the moment. So I think, and the young kids who came on last night, I mean, that was always Forest bringing, you know, like I say, Zach Abbott and Jimmy, he came on last night as well. So it's very rare you get too many youngsters coming in sides now because they want ready-made players to come in there. But then you look at the flip side and you look at Man City, how many changes they made, and they backfired. And that's the great Pep. So you know who's right and who's wrong.
Do you recall, Franz, what Brian Clough said to you early on in your career? Any memories of your first few games? Did he big you up, or did he keep your feet on the ground?
Too many swear words, I think, so I can't mention that. No, listen, he knew every player individually. I think, like I said, when you look at the game today about psychologists and knowing your players, he knew players inside out, and that was just being from a manager's point of view. So he knew what you were capable of doing, and we all knew. Like I said, when you've got Stuart at the back, you've got Des Walker at the back. I mean, you knew that there's nobody ever going to get past them. So you've got that, and you've got Neil Webb, and you know you've got obviously Steve Hodge. You can carry on. And I think one of the main parts of that side was the hold-up play, which was brilliant to see on against Liverpool with Jesus. I mean, if the ball's going up to strike and it's coming back, what chance have you got as a midfield player to go beyond or see the game? So it's imperative that, because Nigel was brilliant, there's no doubt about it. Nigel Clough was one of the best holder up of the ball, bringing people into play. You know, Hodgie got a lot of goals at Roy Keane, young Roy Keane coming through. So when you look at Mark Hughes and players in the past, the hold up play is critical on how you build a side. Obviously, you've got your back four, but you like I said, if you've got a number 9 or number 10 who can hold that ball up, brings people into play. And you see now with Morgan Gibbs-White now, where like I said the other week, he's running around too much. He's more structured now. And you see the goals he's scoring because he's got somebody up front who can hold it. He can make his runs rather than running beyond. It's coming back and they think, where's Morgan? He needs to get back in. So I think the strikers, and like I say, Kalimuendo last night did well. And I think they're all getting up to speed of what is needed.
Talking getting up to speed, Mikey, what did you make of McAtee? I felt like he almost played well, but I don't think he really quite grabbed his chance. What did you make of him?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I don't want to be too harsh because I think he is probably the closest we've got to Gibbs-White in terms of his style of play, from what I can see. I just think, when you look at some of basically any Premier League team, certainly ours, when you look at some of the players, they all have that USP, that one defining attribute. So whether it's skill, pace, aggression, one-on-ones, whether it's, aerial threat, whatever it is, you can just pick one and go, yeah, he's really good at that. He's really good at that. I think with McAtee, he's just good at everything. But is he going to beat a player? Is he going to score you 5 to 10 goals? Is he strong enough to win aerial duels? I don't know. Do you know in that Man City side, they had so much possession. And when he got in there, it was seamless. And if you look at the games that he started or came on, they were usually very much in control of that game. He very rarely started like a big game. And he was never really the main man there. And he's obviously come to us, maybe because he thought Gibbs White was going, who knows, and he thought he could get that position. But at the moment, he's got a real fight to get that position from Gibbs White, because you're not going to play him wide, really, because, like I said, doesn't necessarily have the pace, doesn't have, I don't think he has the trickery, doesn't have the direct running of, say, Hutchinson, or the absolute endeavour of a Dan Undoy. So where is he going to play? He's not going to play in front of the back four because he doesn't have the strength of a Sangare or the tenaciousness of a Yates. Is he going to play him behind? Don't know. So it's like, I'm just waiting for him to jump out and go, that's what he's about. That's what he does. He's the guy that's going to break into the box late, or he's the guy that's brilliant at set pieces or whatever. At the moment, he just did okay, but Morgan's not going to lose his place after a performance like that from McAtee. So I'm hoping there's more to come from him, because we spent a lot of money on him, and obviously there's a player in there who was he the captain of the under-21s that won the tournament? Yeah. So, he's very highly rated. He's got good stock, comes from a great footballing team. I'm just yet to see it, something's just yet to like sort of jump out at me and go, that's where he fits in. So I think he's back on the bench at the weekend if he's fit, and he's probably waiting for his next chance, if I'm honest.
Yeah, there's a couple of bits in the game. The Man City thing's interesting. Like, he has some really bright moments, and you can see, like, he played a 1-2 with Sangare, and he'll beat a couple of players, and you see what he's about. Then there's other times where he gets the ball, and you probably want him to drive and be really proactive, but he just kept the ball and recycled it. And I don't know if that's the Man City thing, because that's what they do. And our style of play isn't quite that. It's more get up and go a little bit. So maybe he's just adapting. I don't know. I guess, Franz, you've been moved into clubs, different style of play, different manager, different thinking, and it hasn't quite got match fitness. So do we have to give him a period of adaptation, or do you worry for him that he's not quite going to fit?
He's just got to adapt. Is it a different club, different environment, different tactics? I think that defines a player. When you go to different clubs, how can you adapt? Because all you're doing is adding another string to your bow. So it's all right playing at Man City and playing up the intricate football and, little triangles and stuff like that. But to change your style of play, he's probably got to see the game more from the bench to see what Sean wants from him and see what other players are doing. So, because there's no doubt he's got the ability. It's how can you adapt? How can you train harder? Can you get quicker? So you've got all these other things, because you can imagine being at Man City. It's probably 100 passes a goal in training, because they play that much football. So I think he's just got to adapt. I think just give him a bit of time. The good thing is that you've got other players in there who can do that job. So he's got to look at them to see. I mean, even like the Ryan Yates and the other guys in midfield. Looking at them and see what they do, and see what he can bring more to the game. Because technically, we know most of the players are good. We know McAtee's good, but he does look a little bit lightweight. I don't think it's to do with the way he plays. I just think it's a standard of fitness-wise. If you get that fitness up to the level what Sean wants, then you can take that on to the next level. Because there is a certain, I don't know the stats with Liverpool and Forest were how much running we did and what they did. The ball does the work, but at the same time, you've got to push a shift in as an individual, as a player. Because, as you know, as a player, if you're giving 110% and pulling your guts out, the fans will always love you. When some players you'll see and think he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he doesn't look sharp, he doesn't look strong, then you're gonna question that. So he's just got to learn that a little bit more from being sort of like wrapped in cotton wool at Man City and just bringing you in with all the top players. He's got to learn his trade a bit now to try and get back to the heights where he was before, because he was never really going to get in as a regular. But at the same time, you look at the path. You look at Phil Foden, you look at Cole Palmer, you look at McAtee. Them players are all top players. So if you put him in that sort of mould, just give him a bit of time, because he's still young. Give him another 18 months to see the James McAtee in 18 months to see exactly where he's going to be.
I did see this was a stat. I think that we ran 6K more than them on Saturday, which is a huge amount, obviously.
Yeah.
There was this comment here. I'll just put it up. Afternoon, by the way, to 230 plus people who are with us. Great to have you with us today. Do hit like if you haven't already on. Now I can't find it. Oh yeah, okay. Now my mouse is stuck. Excellent. There we go. Every position you can imagine McAtee playing, we have a better option, which I agree is true right now. But I think the picture can change. I mean, Hutchinson's moved up the pecking order. Sangare's moved up the pecking order. It is quite fluid. But yeah, right now, I think that's fair. Morgan Gibbs White's going to keep him out of the team. Dan Undoy, Amari Hutchinson, the positions he plays, he's second string, but I think there's always an opportunity for it to change, certainly. Right, let's talk more about Brighton then. Up next on Sunday, chance to make it 4 wins in a row, which is brilliant, Mikey. What are your just general thoughts on the game as we head into it?
Yeah, I said they were 5th, they're not the 6th, but they're still having a damn good season. They're going a little bit under the radar, aren't they? So everybody talks about, the Bournemouth way of playing. Obviously, you get your historical sort of big 5-6 that, historic, apart from Liverpool, win every week. Brighton are just ticking along and ticking those wins and playing some good football. We've got Danny Welbeck up front who, new lease of life. Don't know how old he is. He plays like he's 18. So
34. He's got 7 goals in 12 games this season.
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, they're not missing Evan Ferguson, all this. So João Pedro. So they're doing really, really well. Minter's a really good player. Hinshelwood. They've got some very technically gifted players. But they play a certain style, which historically we've had the making of, haven't we, really? If you think about the times they've come to ours, we've beaten the last couple of times. 3-1 and 7-0. Got a few points at their place. We knocked them out the cup. So we've got their number a little bit, I think. So, yes, they're on a good stretch of form, but Brighton play the way Brighton play. They're not going to come and, play long ball or play a back 5 or 6. They're not. They're just going to play the way they play. So we've got a few days now just to understand that and to set up and to make sure that we hit them really hard on the transition, because that's the way you beat them, and run at their centre-backs because they're not very quick. So I'm really positive about it because history tells me that we can beat this side because we usually do. And we're on a good run of form. And we've got players there now, as Franz was saying, that are chomping at the bit, that are trying to show what they're all about. So when they come off the bench, as many Premier League games are often decided in those last 30 minutes, we've got some of the weapons now that are starting to fire. So I think as long as it's a close-ish game, and as long as we don't make any silly mistakes, there is no reason whatsoever why we can't get a positive result on Sunday. I think the crowd will be up for it. We're on a roll. Amari will be back. He'll be chomping at the bit after a few subs. Do we start him? Gibbs White's hopefully going to be back. I think Murillo will be fine. Is Chris Wood going to feature? So these are all positive conversations we can have to make sure that we're in the best possible frame to go and beat them. I think if you said to them, you'll get a point at the City Ground, I think they'd bite your hand off. Genuinely. So, but if you would have said that 6 weeks ago, I think they think in there we're going to come and beat them. But things have changed, and football changes really quick, as I'm sure you guys know. I think we're in a good space. So I'm expecting a real positive front foot performance from us, and I'll be very surprised if we don't get at least a draw on Sunday.
We'll talk about team selection in 1 minute. Just looking at Brighton's form, as Mikey said, they're 6th. Last 6 games, won 3, drawn 2, lost 1. And their away record this season, the Premier League, played 6, won 1, drawn 2, lost 3. The one win was at Chelsea, which is obviously a great result, but Chelsea had 10 men for 40 plus minutes and Brighton scored 3 late goals. So they've not been quite as strong away from home. Lots of people talking about winning the game, France. I'm optimistic. Are we getting a bit carried away and underestimating Brighton, or do you target this as another 3 points for us?
I target as another 3 points. I just think as long as the complacency doesn't set in, which I don't think it has because we're on a high, Sean will keep them focused. And obviously, I think it'll be the similar sort of side as Liverpool. I can't see Hutchinson playing because it's bringing him in gradually. Because it's all right bringing somebody in for 90 minutes, and you've got Dan and Doyle playing fantastic as well, and Dominguez. So you can play around the side a little bit, knowing that you can look at the bench and bring somebody on. So if Hutchinson does play, I'd be surprised if he does play because, like I said, they're just bedding him in slowly, and what you're getting from him at the moment is magical moments. So maybe another 20 or 30 minutes, maybe it depends on how the game's going, but I expect us to beat Brighton. Just the fact that we're at home after last night's game against Liverpool, I just think you've got the crowd as well on your side. And I think if we start on the front foot and get a couple of early goals, all of a sudden, the confidence goes down with Brighton. I mean, with Danny Welbeck, listen, he's got the 2 centre halves to play with, so that's not going to be so easy for him. So I think we'll be all right as long as we get a professional performance. I don't see any problems.
We'll have a look at team news then. As we record this, it's about an hour before Sean Dyche has his press conference, so there will be some team news, injury news around Murillo and Gibbs-White. But as Mikey said, I think Murillo will probably play. If not, Morata will just plug in. And then there's more interesting conversation around Morgan if he doesn't play. But Mikey's done a team, I've done a team, and there's a couple of other options which we'll discuss. I'll put Mikey's on screen first. He's got Sells in goal, Savona, Milenkovic, Murillo, Williams, Anderson and Sangari in midfield, Dan and Doy one side, Callum Hudson and Doy the other, and then Gibbs-White in behind, Igor Jesus, assuming he is fit. We'll talk around if Morgan's not fit in a minute, Mikey, but the interesting thing from your team is no Dominguez, you're playing two wingers from the start, and you're leaving Amari Hutchinson on the bench as well. What's your thinking?
Yeah, exactly. It feels really harsh dropping Dominguez because I think he's been fantastic. However, I just cast my mind back to when we've played Brighton previously, and that 7-0 was absolutely crazy. But even the 2-2 down at their place, even the 3-1 the season before, the way to beat them is to run at their fullbacks and run at their centre backs and get balls in the box. Like literally all our goals were that. If anybody's got that saved on the Sky remote, watch it. I'm right. Every single one. They're not the quickest at the back. So I was thinking before last night, I really want to play Callum in this game or even start Amari. But I think I'm in the same camp as Franz. He's having his moments. So, why break it? It's working at the moment. And what I saw from Callum last night really impressed me. I understand the level of the opposition he was up against, but that fullback was having a nightmare against him. So he looked on it last night, didn't he? He was running. As soon as he got the ball, he head down straight at the goal. And I'm just thinking, if we do that against Brighton, we'll create chances. And Dominguez is putting such a shift in the last few games. He looked absolutely goosed after when he came off at Liverpool. He looked absolutely knackered. So it's really hard. It's just horses for courses for me. And I just think, what is our best way of scoring a goal? Get two wingers attacking their fullbacks. And Callum did enough last night for me to warrant a start. And he's probably not going to last the full 90, is he? Because did he do 90 last night? Did he play the whole game last night?
Yeah.
Blimey, okay. I don't think he's probably going to last 90 on Sunday because he's only just coming back from that injury. So even if you do replace him with a Hutchinson or a Dominguez, that's fine. It's a positive lineup from me to reflect a positive time in our season. And let's have a go at them because, like I said, I think they'd settle for a draw, whereas I think we can go and win it.
My team's slightly different. I wonder if Dyche telegraphed it a little bit by giving Hudson-Odoi 90 and taking Dominguez off. So my team's the same as Mikey's, except I've got Dominguez on the wing and Callum Hudson-Odoi on the bench with Hutchinson. And just the thinking is, sort of, if it isn't broke, don't fix it, because we played really well. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, if you look at Brighton, Minter is having a fantastic season. And if you can nullify or limit him with no Mitoma on the other side, then I think you kind of hurt a lot of Brighton's attacking weapons. And we've done that so well with Dominguez against Leeds and in particular Liverpool. So that's what I quite like to see, although I fully understand why Mikey would play two wingers. If anyone's going to say play two wingers, it's Franz. Which one of these would you be looking at, Franz?
Well, like I said, I'd be looking for the first 45 minutes and I'd play the two wingers the second half. Like I said, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Like I said, Dominguez will, tie them out and basically stop them from going. Then all of a sudden, you've got another wave of attack for the second half. So it just depends on what formation Sean wants to play. But I would, like I said, you leave your big weapons on the bench and then throw them in when you need them.
Let me just look at some alternatives then. This is if Morgan Gibbs-White is out, and there's 3 or 4 different things that we could do, which I'll just put on screen and we can just talk around them. Obviously, McAtee just comes in and plays that role, is one of them. Hutchinson can play that role. He played half his games for Ipswich as a number 10 or on the right. And when we bought Elliot Anderson, he was supposed to be Morgan's deputy, and he's so good. He's world class. He could play any role, and then you just bring Ryan Yates in. The other one you could do is play Kalimuendo in behind Jesus, or switch them even and play Jesus in behind him. The only reason that I'm wary of that is if there's no other striker on the bench, then you need a bench option, I think, to bring on if Wood's out and Awoniyi's out. If one of those is fit, then I don't mind it so much. If Morgan's out, Mikey, what would your preference be?
Yeah, it's interesting seeing this, isn't it? I don't think I'd plug McAtee in based on what my answer earlier about his performance last night. I just think just slowly with him. I don't think that's the right thing to do at this point in time. I'm thinking the last time Brighton came to our ground, they played one in midfield, didn't they, and lost 7-0. So they're not going to repeat that again. What they might do is overkill it and go, do you know what, we might play that extra man, which probably lends itself to me maybe bringing in a Ryan Yates and pushing Anderson or whoever slightly forward, knowing that they lost the game there this time. They're not going to do it this time. They're all going to be focused in that area of the pitch. So maybe we do play that extra midfielder. And as Franz says, wait till the second half and then try and open up a little bit. So I think that's what I'd do. I'd probably bring a Yatesy in and push Anderson maybe further forward.
Raf in the chat does mention, you see, Callum did play quite narrow in a couple of games. I think he played it in pre-season as well when Nuno was manager a million years ago. So there's lots of options there, Franz. Would you have any preference if Morgan is out?
No, because the players are doing a job. So you can fit players into any positions. It depends on what style to play. I mean, at the end of the day, for me, it's the hold-up play is important. The ball's not coming back.
I've lost your volume, Franz, a bit.
Has it gone again? I don't know. Has it gone? Can you hear me now?
No, you're a bit quiet. Mikey, can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me, Mike? Mikey,
Yeah, it's just Franz has gone a bit quiet.
Franz, I'm going to remove you and then I'll just add you back in. If you add yourself back in and then we'll come back to it. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
I'm back, am I? I've not done anything.
This is the joys of live streaming podcasts with technology.
I thought, what have I done? I haven't done anything.
No, you haven't done anything. Right, sorry, just continue then. Just repeat what you said, sorry.
Yeah, I was saying it doesn't matter who he brings in it, because I think because he's getting people buying into what he wants, I think whoever plays in that position, if it's Morgan's good Wyke or whoever it's going to be, they can do a job. And like I say, if it's got to be Elliot Anderson or whatever, I think we'll be all right. Do you know what I mean? Because like I say, you've got a togetherness there. Everybody knows what they need to do. We know we've got to win games, especially at the City ground. So all these formations, I think, like I said, we're winning at Liverpool. I think he'll keep that same sort of side. And then obviously bring the wingers on. And with Callum as well. Callum's realising now that, there's some competition on the wings. So he's got to step his game up, because I just thought he'd fallen off a little bit. But then when you look at the two managers who were there before, you don't know what they were telling him to do. Was he telling him to cut inside all the time or come back out or actually beat the fullback? So when you've got that many different instructions from different managers, you don't know if you're coming or going, especially as a winger. Because there's a pattern of play where some people want to go down the line. I think you look at Doku at Man City. All of a sudden now, Pep's telling him to take players on, whereas before, if you looked at Man City last year, he was always coming back inside. So it just depends on who you're playing against, what the formation is, and getting the ball as a winger early in the box. And we've seen, like I say, with Morgan's good White now, the way it's been structured, his timing, his run's perfect in the box, which people think, well, why is he doing that? It's because wingers are getting the ball in the box and we're pushing up more. They're more confident with the back four. I mean, Savona's done brilliant coming in. Everybody's thinking, what's he doing in the box, scoring a couple of goals? But, some fullbacks have the knack of being in the right place at the right time. I mean, we had obviously with Steve Hodge, he used to score 15 goals a season, which you wouldn't even see that now. Mm-hmm. And he had the knack of just getting in the box and scoring goals. So horses for courses, but I think Sean is actually coaching the players, Warney and Stoney. And you can see that. I mean, you've been watching the games for the past 18 months. And I think some of these players have already developed over the past few weeks.
Yeah, Doku used to drive me mad last season. I much prefer watching him this season. Just stop going backwards. But I guess that's how they were coached. When you were, just before we wrap things up, Franz, when you were playing, did you like feeling completely nailed in the team? You knew a place was assured every week, or did you like having competition and someone really threatening your place to make you play better?
You've always got competition, and it's like you're judging how you play. If you play well, I mean, listen, you could play well in games and get dropped the next game. That's what it used to be like. So that's where the complacency comes in. You can't expect your players to be there every week. I mean, obviously with Stuart and Des and people like that, they were playing every week, but I think they would still think that if they didn't put performance in, you could end up getting dropped. I mean, that was Cloughie kept you on your toes. So realistically, it's the momentum. If you've got the winning habit, you keep that winning habit. You can even play badly and win. That's the sign of a good side as well. So you've got all these scenarios of we didn't play well today, but we won. You'd sooner take 3 points. But if you win well and get the 3 points, it's even better, isn't it? So it's just like I said, it's a game about opinions, but it's about winning and keeping clean sheets.
Quick tangent. People will remember last time France was on, we were talking about food, as we often go off on a stray, and he said about putting wine gums in the freezer. Andrew here says he broke his tooth doing it. I don't know if that's exaggeration or not. When we were in Leeds at the Full Content Awards, we came back to the Airbnb, and Pete and Dan and Mikey tried it. I think they were all pissed up, so I don't know how numb they were. But Pete described it as a game changer. I think he liked it. So mixed reviews.
There you go, Pete. Mixed reviews, yeah, but if you've got something rock hard in the freezer, you're not going to bite it, are you?
No, you've got to let it defrost.
That's the whole point of taking your time with a bag of wine gums.
Exactly. You're thinking of your health. There you go. Right. Just before we start to wrap things up, word of thanks for Home Move Estate Agents. There's a property of the week. France hasn't heard me do one of these. This is in Kegworth in Leicestershire, and it's got a Derby postcode, but bear with us. Guide price is 260 to 270,000. 3 double bedrooms, 2 reception rooms. As Ben says here, 3-bed detached bungalow nestled in the heart of the desirable village of Kegworth. And I also reading their website, Ben hadn't told me this, but Home Move won best estate agent in the NG1 postcode recently. So if you're planning to move, do reach out to Ben for their expert guidance. France, I think you would make a great estate agent. I don't know what you've done after football. Would this be up your street or not?
No, I'll leave it to you. You're doing a good job enough as it is. That's all right. No, I used to live in Lace Market for quite a while in Nottingham, and I loved it there, which is quite good. That's before they built everything. Now it's all students now, isn't it? But I still live there for a while.
Do check out the link in the description anyway. It's there whether you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on audio and you haven't seen it, do check it out. Links in the description, and thanks to Home Move Estate Agents as ever. Mikey, wrapping things up then, final thoughts on the game or anything you want to add before we let you go?
How nice is that house? Blimey. Sorry, I was just looking at the pictures. Like, ridiculous. Final thoughts. Yes, just one. The Malmo fans yesterday were fun, weren't they? Like, their repertoire included ABBA, 2 Unlimited, and a song from the 1973 Disney Robin Hood film, which Lindsay's been singing to me on repeat this morning, like literally the whole morning. Just that tune they were whistling. Oh my word, can't get it out of my head. But they were good fun, and they lost 3-0 and had 1 shot. So can you imagine if they actually won a game or scored a goal? They would have gone absolutely bonkers. But they were good fun, and it was great that our fans were joining in as well. You know, with a clapping and singing all the tunes, and it was good. I just really enjoyed. I mean, it wasn't much of a contest, was it? But in terms of the atmosphere that the Malmo fans generated and our response to it, I thought it was fun. Back to the real serious stuff on Sunday, though. I don't think the Brighton fans will be as fun, and they'll be coming up and expecting to continue their good form. But I think the momentum that we've shown, and I was thinking about my team now. How difficult will it be to tell that team that won at Anfield that one of them isn't starting on Sunday? It's going to be very difficult. So I actually have probably been turned, and I think they will go with Dominguez on the wing. But even still, like I said, there's those bench options to win the game. So I'm at a wedding Saturday. I'm coming to the City Ground Sunday. I'm expecting us to put on a good performance and take at least a draw to keep that momentum going. And let's just keep the feel-good factor at the City Ground, because we're on a roll.
The wedding you're going to, the people know you're going. You're not just arriving. You've been invited.
Turning up in my Christmas jumper. No, it's our Oxford mate Tom. You know, Rich and Tom. It's Tom's getting married, so congratulations. It's in Worcestershire, I think. So I'm staying at the cricket ground and then up to the City Ground on Sunday morning. So it should be a good weekend. He's
top of our FPL mini league, isn't he, as well? Tom, he's having a good season. Better than me. Absolute car crash. If I could talk about that for ages. Franz, anything you want to add before we go?
I just think last night with the 1979 lads being there, and with Viv and Tony Woodcock and stuff, I think the players themselves, obviously with Morgan Gibbs White, they're all there last night. Seeing that as well, I just think it will give them a lift. It wasn't just the game. I think it was the whole thing last night. I mean, you were there last night, so with that, them being there as well is going to give you that momentum a bit more. So take yourself away from the game, Malmo. That in itself is enough to give you that lift to say, listen, this is what you could be looking at getting a cup, doing well in the league. So I think that was a massive plus for even Murillo, probably looking around thinking, who are these guys? But I mean, saying, well, these are the guys who've won a cup. So I think that will give a big boost to the play. So I can't really see too many problems going forward. Just get everybody fit. buying into what Sean's doing, and I think we'll be on a nice, comfortable ride.
Andrew says he needs root canal surgery after eating one of the wine comes out of the freezer. Which, sorry, Andrew, there's no option to sue panelists on this podcast. Just to say,
no. I said just chew them slowly. It just lasts longer. That's all I said. I didn't say anything else. I didn't say to crunch on them, and they're not a bag of crisps, are they?
Exactly.
Right.
Do us a favor, hit like, hit subscribe, consider Patreon or membership if you haven't already. Lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify would be great. We shall be back tomorrow. Got an opposition preview with Az the Brighton fan, and then Sunday post match is with Paul and Chris, I think. Monday 9 a.m. we'll reflect on it all with it's Kelv and Rob Adcock are doing that one on Monday. So lots of good stuff coming up. Do join us for that. Mikey, thank you very much.
Pleasure. We've got that video blog thing as well, haven't we?
Oh, vlogs out, vlogs out. Yeah.
That's good fun.
Yeah, every one of these, one of the podcast regulars ends up pissed at some point. It's pretty obvious that it's Pete this week watching the half-time video. No, it's not you this time. You were sober to judge when you got home. Yeah, although absolutely. I'll just point out for people who are listening and watching, I asked people to send in kind of 60 to 90-second summaries. Mikey's was 4.5 minutes, and I did not want to be editing 4.5 minutes at 1 a.m. when I wanted to go to bed. But thank you for doing it anyway, Mikey. Appreciate it.
No worries.
And Franz, thank you very much. I'll see you soon, Mikey. I'll be with fathers. I'll have a drink with you.
Oh, amazing! Cool. Sounds good. Good to me.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks again, Matt, as usual.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate Franz's company. Do hit like before we go, as mentioned. But if we don't see you tomorrow, we shall see you soon.